All right, next I'm going to call on Navid Saberin, who's a member of the Congress as well as the Minister of Finance. Take it away, Navid.
Yeah, I've been involved with Liberland pretty much for the past 5 or 6 years of my life, and I've had the pleasure of serving as Minister of Finance. But to be really honest, I have well, besides my family and my kids, obviously, I have two obsessions in my life. One being Bitcoin, as many people who know me will confirm, and the other one is really this obsessive search of like I'm obsessed with the word meaningful, to do what is meaningful. And when I met Peter and yourself, Thomas first, and then Vit, I just thought this is it. This is meaningful. And to a point that, and I'm a very extreme person that I decided to drop everything else. I closed my businesses and I've just been a part of this amazing story. But I'm also very, very introvert and like I just want to be left alone. And the more I'm trying to step away from stuff, the more I find myself involved, which is the irony of when you try to make your life meaningful. So the last thing I ever want to do is campaign for office, run for office, but for some reason I'm still here because this is truly meaningful. So what the value that I can and want to add to Liberland is I'm gonna die on this hill if I have to, because this is the one thing that really makes sense. Whether I can do it as a member of the cabinet or member with the Ministry of Finance or in Congress. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, and but don't run for me. I don't like to run for office anyways, but for some reason, the less that's the thing. I try to pull away the more I'm involved, and that's the beautiful thing about searching what's meaningful.
So let's call on Navid Saberin. Give us your three most important priorities for us to work on.
Yeah, I think I'm running out of points because everything I have to agree with my colleagues here. Everything has been said. Especially, I want to reiterate what Kenny was saying. He focused a lot on recognition, and obviously, you don't become a nation just by asking nicely. I mean, you got to work on recognition. You got to be proactive. Sometimes borderline controversial, but you do need to have those dialogues. And I think the most important and foremost important thing is dialogue outside internationally, but especially, and I think that is, if you want to narrow down the three to just one main focus, is for me is Croatia. So we do need to have open doors to have dialogues in Croatia to because there's a lot of misunderstanding right now. There's a lot of unwillingness to have that dialogue, and to me, that is the one and single most important kind of path to recognition, is having a constructive dialogue in Croatia. Yep, as I mentioned earlier, Croatia obviously is the number one dialogue for me, but let's not underestimate all the, and I've heard, I mean, even right now, our Secretary of State is in Antigua right now. He's running around. He's been tirelessly, literally, and that's all happening behind the scenes. It's not necessarily screamed after hilltops, but those efforts, with smaller and I even heard people in our own circle use words like, "Oh, these are little asshole nations," which is completely, I think, a misguided way of thinking. We should not underestimate every single dialogue that we manage to have, and they're very constructive, and they really end up becoming a snowball effect. And I respectfully disagree with Dorian. I don't believe we are too young and too early to chase after the supermodels, because we are making the rules. You're building a new country, and who says that 13-year-olds cannot go date supermodels? I mean, we're building the newest, the hottest nation on the planet, and we are ready to talk, and we should continue pushing those efforts.
Navid, let's hear from you on what things could look like in 5 to 10 years. How do you see commerce and people going in and out of Liberland with vis-a-vis Croatia and Serbia and maybe even Hungary and other places? What do you think? What do you think it could look
Oh,
like?
oh boy, 5 years, 5 to 10 years is an eternity. I mean, we are barely 10 years old. I mean, we'll
Yeah.
be 10 in about 2 weeks. So this isn't like literally the sky is the limit, because, and especially as Dorian says, politics, I mean, the only thing hurdle in our way really right now, preventing a reality where we have a mini Dubai sitting there in Gonia Siga in 5 years' time, because these things go very fast, as we've seen in places like Dubai or China, like cities literally can pop up like mushrooms. So it's only dialogue that's in the way. And as Dorian said, governments change, attitudes change, or like individual politicians maybe like, as I say, may find this they may see the win-win situation. It's just policy, and that can change from one day to the next. So 5 years from now, we really could have a mini Dubai there already. And one thing that, as you mentioned, commerce now, it just came to mind, where maybe my efforts or where I could fulfill my reason for being where I am. Some of you may remember JY, who used to work closely with me, and he said something at the very beginning when I got involved with the finance side that Liberland will get recognition by stealth. You know, that was kind of the way he coined it, by strengthening the financial ecosystem of Liberland. And I thought that was a very, very interesting way of looking at it. By becoming financially a viable player in the international market, recognition follows. Because as our dear Vice President Bogi loves to say, and I love it how he says, money talks, bullshit walks, you know. And once you are financially also a viable, strong player, it can open doors beyond what we can imagine right now.
So let me ask Navid, who are your most influential thinkers and writers and role models?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm looking up at books now and see there's so many amazing thinkers and writers. But if I have to narrow it down, I think especially my teenage years were very much influenced by a French writer and philosopher, Albert Camus.
Ah, Camus,
Uh,
yes, L'étranger.
yeah, so he's been a big, big influence on my life. Probably the biggest financial influence in my financial education is probably J. Edward Griffin with his Creature from Jekyll Island.
Yes.
But at the risk of sounding really, really very, very cliche now, I have to say Satoshi, you know, whoever they or he is, because it really has influenced my life because I've been living this in an extreme way, and it's really literally influencing my life every single day. So it sounds very cliche, but I'll have to put him up there.
All right, great, great answers, Navid. Thank you. So, Navid, what do you think we could do to preserve that treasure that we have right there on the Danube River, Navid?
Well, they say you cannot have the cake and eat it, right? And or eat the cake and have it. Yeah, it's the other way around. So it's either as was just said, we have this ultra modern Hadid vision, or we had this other. We had a number of incredible designs. I think it goes all the way back to 2016, even when we had this big architectural competition, and a lot of these proposed designs integrate almost all of the nature of live and preserve it. So
Mhm.
with the technology we have, as you mentioned yourself, there's so much possible right now. The question is just how much of the cake do you want to eat, you know, and how much do you want to like actually have. So I think there's a lot of room for compromise, and I'm also a very, very strong believer with the concept that Kenya also brought up about Liberland being more than just a physical place, but it's a concept. It's an idea that's extremely. I mean, it can spread like wildfire. We're a decentralized nation. We can have Liberland literally all over the place, and Gonia Siga will always have its symbolic significance of being the heart of Liberland. But Liberland itself can be anywhere in the world.
Both China and Taiwan. So Navid, if you could comment on what our approach could be, should be, where do you think we have certain advantages that we could pursue, Navid?
I mean, as Kenny also said, and our strength has to be in diplomacy, has to be in the finances, has to be in the areas where, I mean, we're not going to have any illusions that we're going to start building an army. Even like to give the example of, I live in a small country, Luxembourg. I mean, we do have an army, but it is even Luxembourgians make jokes about their own army, and we used to, as kids, say, well, if Belgium wanted to invade us, they would send the fire department of the neighboring city, you know. So obviously, strength can be measured in many other ways. Look at Liechtenstein, look at San Marino. I mean, they wouldn't stand a chance when it came to actually exerting violence or physical force. So our strength is obviously in making deals, in finances, and in diplomacy. You know.
Great, great. I totally agree.
I mean, any kind of contact, any relation is a win-win for everybody. Even I was going to mention Verdis, and then you brought it up. Even Verdis, who is not even, um, I mean, even how are you going to say it? There's no direct gain for us because they are not even. Let's say they're not even half as advanced as we are. Their struggle is like way. They still got another 10 years of struggle to even get to the point we are at. Even that relationship we should cherish and we should respect because no relationship is a wasted relationship. So whether it's a small nation or pseudo nation or wannabe nation, any friends are welcome.
Yeah, we've done a little bit of work with them as far as
Right.
boats and things like that. Daniel visited us in Apatine and we took him out on a boat ride. And I think they made some arrangement with us about a
That's right. We try to
boat that they
share
have.
resources, and I do talk to him also on and off on a semi-regular basis. So as I said, any contact is a good contact.